What's going on, Consciouztv, your favorite breakdown commentator? Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. You already know what we're here to get into. Before we do so, please thumbs up the video. You guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Conscious crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary. All right, thumbing up the video don't cost you nothing. Y'all know YouTube been playing on my notifications for a long time now, so we got to counteract that by thumbing up the video. If you also enjoy everything that I do here on the platform, you guys can always donate to the platform on Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv, Conscious spelled with the Z on the end, just like it is here on the platform. All Patreon, Instagram handles are in the description box below. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be a YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you in fatly the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's going on, Conscious crew? Let me speak to the Conscious crew in the building. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys have had a wonderful, safe weekend. It's been some terrible flooding in Texas, which have claimed the lives of 40 plus people, including 19 children, men and women, fathers, sons, daughters, mothers. What an absolute tragedy. So please keep Texas in your prayers, you guys. What's going on, Rumors and Tea? What's going on, Teresa? Hey, Kimani. Hey, Shawnee. Hey, Moon Witch. Hey, Karen. Hey, Tam Tam. Just Be Real. Hey, Chowder. What's going on, Sheila, Nia? What's going on, Sexy Nessa? Hey, Tammy. What's going on, Just Be Real? Hey, Libra. What's going on, Akanis? What's going on, JH? Hi, Star. What's going on, Betsy? Hey, y'all. Hey, Auntie Trish. Hey, Dovey. Hey, Boo. Hey, y'all. So this isn't going to be a long live stream, you guys. I just wanted to come through because just broke on my timeline, you guys. Would you believe it? The Oval male actor coming out of the Tyler Perry multiverse is now accusing the director, producer, actor Tyler Perry of not only covering up a grape, but also getting raped by the vice president of Tyler Perry Studios, you guys, okay? The Oval actor Braxton Wells has come forward to make these claims on Instagram, girl, and he seems to be ready and fully loaded with all of his Infinity Stones. If you guys do not know who Braxton Wells is, this is a brief introduction to him, courtesy of his IMDb page. Actor Braxton Wells is an American actor. He was born in Columbus, Georgia, the youngest of two brothers. After graduating from Hardaway High School, he went off to serve the United States Army for 2 years and went to the Academy of Art University located in San Francisco, California, majored in BFA acting program with Deanna Baker and Damon Sperber. Braxton made his film debut in On a Whim. Let's get into the thick of it here. Okay, where were we? In On a Whim with Zaina Zing, playing supporting role. He is best known for his television work, which includes roles in BET's Tyler Perry, The Oval, and Amazon Freevee Clean Slate, starring Laverne Cox and George Wallace, you guys. All right. So Braxton fully unloaded on what looks to be a fresh Instagram page. He's posted a series of screenshots, which include an alleged NDA clause from the Tyler Perry Studios, which, as you guys can see here, he captions is a NDA cover up to a federal crime. Okay, he adds TMZ, CNN, Fox News, Variety, and The Hollywood Reporter. However, the screenshot is so fuzzy and blurry that it is actually not readable, unfortunately, you guys, okay? But this is a alleged NDA clause out of the Tyler Perry Studios, which he says is something he had to sign, which helped the studios to cover up his alleged rape. He also says that there's another female actor who works within the Tyler Perry Studios who also was SA'd, and she also has not gotten any justice either. We can only assume who that is, okay? One of the other screenshots that he posted, or post that he made, I should say, 14 hours ago, is he says, "I was great, groomed, and silenced. Now I'm exposing the cover up. My name is Braxton Wells. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I'm speaking up for every survivor who was told to stay quiet. What happened? In January of 2022, I was raped by Mark E. Swinton, vice president at Tyler Perry Studios, after being lured across state lines from California to Georgia under false pretenses involving my work on BET's The Oval," you guys. My goodness. Shout out to my baby mother, Teresa, for the old nasty piece of child support check. Says, "For you, for the work, baby." Thank you, baby mother. Thank you so much. God bless you. You guys know all donation information is in the description box below. So, you guys, Braxton is saying that he was raped, he was groomed, he was silenced, and that he was trafficked across state lines under a false pretense, which would have been an acting role, an acting gig on business, only to be drugged and raped by the vice president, Mark E. Swinton of the Tyler Perry Studios. His next slide is, "I was a retired veteran with PTSD. They used my mental health trauma and status against me. But the rape was only the beginning. My civil attorney, Jeannie Harrison, pushed me into a secret NDA while the criminal case was still open. She never told me about my federal or military protections. She never filed a civil case, and she worked behind the scenes with Tyler Perry's defense. The entire system failed me by design. This is a federal crime." I don't know what this says here. This is a something dispute, criminal investigation. And then you guys see he gets into all of the U.S. codes and legislations and procedural codes, etc., as it relates to his rights, his protections, what these crimes are, the federal laws that were broken. And then he captions why the NDA is void by law. Okay, so I want to show you guys a series of videos he made where he goes into the statute of limitations running out on his case. He says that he was told by an attorney that was suggested to him by another attorney, I believe, or authority figure within the Tyler Perry Studios universe, that his case was expired and that he could not apply any civil nor criminal. He said he wanted both. And from what I gather, it appears that he's saying that that was actually not true at the time, but it may be the case now. And that all this was a setup, that he was railroaded intentionally, he was gaslit intentionally, and that he was taken advantage of because he didn't know his rights, he didn't know the law, he didn't know the books, and he was seeking every type of attorney he could, etc., regarding what had took place. And it all led ultimately to, as he said, the system failing him. This is obstruction of justice. This is legal malpractice, and this is a violation of the Constitution. Compare this to Derek Dixon's case, also a California resident, assaulted in Georgia in 2020, was protected under California law, never forced into Georgia jurisdiction, wasn't silenced by NDA. My case is the same, but I was denied justice. Why? Because the system protects predators and, okay, he must have missed the slide there, child. Okay, his legal action is he's demanding to file a motion to avoid the NDA, civil lawsuits for SA, grooming across state lines, fraud, emotional distress, legal malpractice, criminal prosecution in both California and Georgia. Names I am publicly holding accountable, but that ends there. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, this is his flight itinerary for the 2022 incident. All right, he flew Delta, as you guys can see here, January 5th of 2022 at 12:27 p.m. Okay. These are payments. He doesn't really provide a context to what all this is per se. I guess this is him proving that he was flown out, that he was quote unquote trafficked across state lines under the guise that this was a business meeting. I don't know who the her is that was supposed to be paid, etc. You see here a $3,000 payment on Apple Pay, a $3,000 payment on Apple Pay, and then on January 7th of 2022, the next day, a $980 Apple Pay with a text, "Don't forget to pay her today." Then there's a text, "My phone is on 1%. The responder, "Oh, really? Okay. Meet me at door S3 if your signal gives out." I assume this is Braxton in the blue, "Walking to baggage claim now." The responder says, "Oh, okay, you're still in terminal or you off escalator." Braxton says, "Okay, I just stopped to charge my phone. I'm headed to you now." Responder says, "So you're still in airport?" He says, "Yeah, I have to get on the train to baggage claim." "Oh, okay, I'll stand by there until you're off train." They said, "Okay, awesome." So I'm going to assume that this is the VP, the individual that he's accusing of graping him, the vice president of the Tyler Perry Studios. Okay, then there's more text on January 6th of 2022. "Hey, Braxton, are you here? I'm here parked in cell phone lot. As soon as you're walking outside, I will drive around." There's another say, "Hey, Braxton, are you here? I'm here parked in cell phone lot. As soon as you're walking outside, I will drive around." Brandon says, "Just landed. My phone is on 1%. The VP says, "Oh, really?" I'm assuming that this is the VP, okay, since, all this is in the context of this 2022 alleged business meeting and opportunity. He was flown out to California to, or Georgia to be a part of, etc., that led to what he claims was SA. The alleged VP says, "Oh, really? Okay. Meet me at door S3. If signal gives okay." Okay, so this is Mark Swinton. So yes, this is the VP. All right. Says, "I checked in, brother, and I'm on the plane." Mark says, "Have a safe flight. I will be there to pick you up when you land." Braxton says, "Thank you. I'll let you know when I land." Mark says, "Okay, cool." Braxton says, "LOL, much love. Can't wait to see you tomorrow." Mark says, "I got this from Delta. We look forward to welcoming you on board soon. Your flight to Atlanta." Okay, so that's him letting Mark know about his departure time, where he's going to be at what terminal, etc. Or no, this is Mark, I guess, reiterating, etc., getting him to confirm some things. Braxton says, I'm headed to the airport now. Very excited to see you. And then it looks like down below, Mark says, oh, me too, Braxton. Drive safe. All right. Looks like this is from Braxton to Mark. You're definitely right about that. Yeah, I'm definitely ready to spill everything to your brother. Like, I'm happy to have you in my life, brother. Yeah, don't stress, brother. I can't even imagine how much work you got coming at you. You got this. I'll make sure to bring your energy back up and not stress, brother. I got your back. Yeah. Get some food in you. And yeah, I haven't ate all day myself. About to grab something to eat, etc. Now, once again, I provided a lot of context. These are selected text messages, so we don't know what's going on, what he's responding to. We don't know what's happening above the text, below the text, etc. So we're just reading. Braxton says in the blue here, hell yeah and nah. I understand, brother. You're not boring me. We are just better talking in person more, and I can't wait. And my day is going good. Just been sitting here thinking to myself about a lot of things and how far I came, and I haven't realized how blessed I've been. I tell you everything tomorrow about the journey I've been having, because I don't have a lot of friends, Mark, and there's reasons for that. And now God is paving the way for me, and you came into my life, and it is truly a blessing. But how's your day going? Wow. Now, once again, you guys, I have to say everything here is allegedly, but my God, this is already tragic if everything that Braxton is saying is true, because this man served in the Army. He suffered from PTSD. It's clear that at some point in his life, he felt stagnated. He felt stuck. Maybe he felt let down. Maybe felt like a loser and didn't really know what was left for him after his ordeal in the Army. And then he ended up aligning with what seemed to be a opportunity, back toward the top of the pyramid, back toward his acting dreams, which he went to school for, only to have allegedly been the victim of a SA experience by someone that he thought was going to be a guide to a new life for himself. And if all those things are true for what they are, my God, this is absolutely heartbreaking. But once again, I do have to say alleged, because I'm a public figure with a public platform speaking about these things. Everything here is alleged and according to Braxton, so send his ass all the lawsuits, okay? And once again, this is an accusation by Braxton, so we don't know what is from what isn't. This could be a grift. This could be retaliatory day. Maybe some things went bad in business. And Braxton is angry, like sometimes people are. It's a term called disgruntled employee syndrome, okay? Or this is a genuine manifestation. In either instance, is going to be up to Braxton to prove his case. He's the one bringing an accusation, so the burden of proof is totally on him, all right? Mark responds to all of that by saying, Braxton, I have a few friends too. It is hard to trust people. It's hard to be. And then the message is clipped. Braxton says, hey, Mark, I want to say you are truly a great friend, brother, because no one has done this for me. And I appreciate you so much, man. God has led you to me for a reason. Mark says, man, Braxton, thanks. I didn't want to bore you by continuing to text you that I am excited, but I am excited. I appreciate you too. I am looking forward to you and me vibing and continuing to get to know each other tomorrow night. We are going to have an awesome dinner at one of my favorite restaurants. That place is a vibe itself. And then we'll go to my house and chill for the night. How is your day going? And it looks like he says, hell yeah, and now I understand. Wow, okay. So things seem to be getting cozy on the vice president of Tyler Perry Studios' part. He's going to have a great dinner at some place that's going to wow Braxton. And then they're going to retire for the night. All right. Braxton says, Don Julio, 1942 is my favorite drink, LOL, and I don't occasionally do herbal. It is cold in Atlanta. Is it cold in Atlanta? Okay, so he's coming from California into Georgia. Braxton, that is. Mark says, awesome, and yes, it has been cold here this week. Braxton says, yeah, I'm going to make sure to bring some warm clothes then, LOL. It was so cold the last time I was there. Mark says, do you mix your 1942 with anything in particular? And Braxton says, just usually lemonade. And then there's another message below that. Mark says, Braxton, good morning. I'm booking you a flight now. What is your name with middle name and your date of birth? And if you have a frequent flyer number. Braxton provides his full name and birth date here. Mark says, hey, Braxton, it is booked. What is best to email you the itinerary? So excited. Okay, so I think that these messages might be a little bit all over the place in terms of date and chronological order, but let's just keep moving. And you guys, please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. This is not going to be a long live. I just want to bring you guys everything going on. Mark says, I will book your flight today. Handsome. Okay, all right. Okay, so here it is. You know, nice restaurant he's going to take Braxton to. He's figuring out how drunk Braxton wants to be, and do he mix his Julio with anything? And he thinks Braxton is obviously attractive and plans on retiring with Braxton for the night at his crib, according to these text messages, okay? I will book your flight today, handsome. Hope you're having a cool day. Braxton says, hey, let's go. What time is the flight? And yeah, I'm just getting my day started. How was your day today? So I'm curious to know what is Braxton's orientation. Because I see that he didn't kind of like push back on this compliment from this man. I don't know whether Braxton is bisexual, pansexual, or whether he's just kind of comfortable and he just didn't mind the compliment regardless of gender, because some people just will enjoy a compliment because, hell, it's a compliment, for God's sake, you know, even if it is coming from another man to a man, even if it's coming from another gay man to a man, etc. But I'm just wondering how much Braxton and Mark knew about each other, and if Braxton even knew that Mark was same gender loving or whatever Mark is. But yeah. Mark says, my day is cool. I'll let you know time ASAP. Braxton says, that's good. You're at work right now. Mark says, I'm working from home. What you doing? Can't wait to see you. Braxton says, oh, okay. I'm just getting and then the message clips. Mark says, it's fine. I can host you on Thursday. I'm leaving town on Friday, but you can still kick it in Atlanta on Friday. I'm sure you got a lot of people here. This is your city, but I'll definitely take good care of you on Thursday. I'm excited too. Braxton says, oh, you leaving on Friday? Where you going? And yeah, ATL, my city, LOL. I need to see some of my family members there anyway. I haven't seen in a while. Mark says, Washington, D.C. Then there's another message here that begins with Mark saying, hopefully I'll be negative by tomorrow or Tuesday. I'll keep testing myself, so maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I'm down the moment I'm negative. I feel great. I just don't want to get you sick. So obviously they're talking about Carisha 19. This was 2022. Braxton responds, no, I totally understand, brother. And yeah, those days are fine with me. Very excited to see you. And Mark says, me too. Mark texts on the 3rd of 2022 and says, I tested negative today. I'll test again tomorrow. So Wednesday or Thursday, question mark. Hint. You guys run those likes up. This is another screenshot that begins with Mark saying, well, I'm feeling better now, honestly. I just don't want to jeopardize getting you sick. Are you vaccinated? Braxton says, yeah, and it's hard for me to get sick. It takes a lot, LOL. Mark says, oh, okay, that makes me feel better. We may be able to keep our regular plans. I'll see if I can take a test tomorrow. Braxton says, okay, awesome. And yeah, just let me know. Wow, nice. So this is obviously Braxton being picked up from the terminal by the VP of Tyler Perry Studios, Mark. Okay, this is another message. It begins with Braxton saying, I've landed safely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Now, this is, okay, so this is now on June 6th of 2019. So these messages are now dated back, what, 3 years from 2022. This is 2019, okay? So we're going back now. Braxton says, I've landed safely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mark. God is good, and I'm so happy I got to meet you and the rest of the crew. I wish so much success for Ruthless. Beautifully written and very excited to see the show. Take care and God bless you. Mark says, Braxton, you are a class act. We are so impressed with you, and I am a new fan of yours. This text is the ultimate show of class and virtue. I'm going to find a part for you. I want to work with you. Keep in touch with me, okay? So I don't know whether this is kind of like the origin stories now. and how long they've kind of been in talks. And Mark maybe was supposed to be outsourcing for work, trying to find some way to fit him into the Tyler Perry Studios. That then manifested in 2022 with him being flued out to Georgia from LA. I'm going to assume that this is what the context here is. Okay, this is another text message. It begins with Mark saying, just going up dinner and hanging out with a friend. If you ever want to come hang for a night, let me know. I'll send you a plane ticket. Okay. Braxton says, I'm down. I'm free on the 3rd. I'll definitely come hang out with you, brother. I miss hanging with you, and Taylor misses you too. I appreciate you for real. I want to come see your house. Mark says, LOL, I know you want to come see Taylor. I want to see you. Can I have one night? LOL. Yes, I want you to see the house, and I want to hear all of what you, I guess he's going to say, have to say, or blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what I got from these text messages is that these two are very, very affectionate toward each other. Almost, like there's just a lot of affection, kind of giving bromance vibes. Both of them seem to really like each other. Braxton obviously is very excited, very grateful. Mark is, he really doesn't have a reason to be grateful. I mean, he's the one in the power position, but he definitely finds Braxton attractive and definitely wants some quality time with him, which is why he kind of pushed back a little bit on, this Taylor. I don't know what the Taylor is, a dog, a pet, a immigrant worker, or who the hell Taylor is. But, he's like, look, can I have one night with you? Okay, so Mark is definitely seemingly hell-bent on, he wants some one-on-one, aka let's go to dinner, then let's retire for the rest of the night at my house and chill, Netflix and vibe. He want to mix up the drinks. He want to, stir-ish up, girl. So it's interesting, but none of this is alarming to Braxton. He seems to be down with everything, etc. He's taking all the compliments. He's not seemingly finding anything unusual about kind of some of the winks that are going on here. And maybe he's just innocent and naive, and just thinks that this is all just, white peopling, White men are very fascinating. All right, so now let's get to, okay, wait, this is the email here. Okay, and Braxton captions this email, and this is Jonathan. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me move, because I got my landscapers. Hold on, y'all. Let me move my shit. My landscapers are mowing all around my damn acreage. Let me plug up my charger, you guys. Please run the lights up. We about to play his 6-part video series. Give me 60 seconds and run those lights up, you guys. Run those lights up. Run those lights up. Run those lights up. All right. Had to go into my studio, get away from all of that weed whacking. Shout out to our essential workers, because where would a prince like me be, baby? Okay, without my essential workers, honey, without my kingdom, where would I be? Where would a pretty like me be? Oh, God, today. All right. Braxton captions this. He says, this is Jonathan Delshad, the people suing Tyler Perry for $260 million. These people won't even help the survivors. It's just to help Derek Dixon in his case and to testify in court. I gave him all my evidence and didn't even try to help. I need help from the people to get this information out there, because this is ridiculous. This is entertainment business. It's outrageous. Okay, so apparently this is the attorney, I'm going to assume, that's representing Derek Dixon, who you guys know is another Oval actor suing the out of Tyler Perry. Yep. Okay. So I just pulled up Tyler Perry's lawsuit. Yes. So the attorney is Jonathan J. Delshad, who's representing Derek Dixon. Okay. So this is the email to him. It says, Braxton, thank you for reaching out. I read your message below. Either I or someone from my team will be reaching out to you today to discuss further. What happened to you is shocking. Kind regards. As you guys see, Jonathan there. Braxton, please give me a call to speak about your case so that we can clarify our position. My best. Okay, I guess so. This is counsel. I'm a paralegal or another attorney from Delshad's law office. All right. Dear Mr. Delshad and Mr. Conenbash, I am formally requesting your immediate legal representation in pursuing both civil and criminal action against Mark E. Swinton for grape grooming and crossing state lines under false pretenses, suing Jeannie Harrison for legal malpractice, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and failure to uphold my veteran rights. Okay, this was the attorney that was recommended to him via another authority figure within the Tyler Perry multiverse. He's going to get into that in his videos. I'm also looking to sue Tyler Perry and the Tyler Perry Studios for negligent retention, federal contractor violations, and cover-up of a known predator. And I'm also looking to sue Michael Robbins for conflict of interest and suppressing results as the assigned third-party investigator. Wow. BET series The Oval. I was groomed, manipulated, and coerced across state lines as a retired U.S. Army veteran suffering from PTSD and service-connected disabilities. Jeannie Harrison, my civil attorney, never disclosed my veteran rights, UCMJ protections, or federal remedies, and pushed me into signing a private NDA settlement while the criminal investigation in Georgia was still active. The entire case was never seen by a judge, jury, or mediator and was designed to benefit the defense and suppress justice. There is an open criminal investigation under Detective McGinnis Roswell Police Department. Case number is there. His phone number is there to be contacted. So essentially, Braxton found out that HR is there to pretty much protect the corporation and not the employees. Okay. My God. Federal law statutes here. He lists all of them. California laws. He's a California resident at the time. NDA does not apply in cases of sexual harassment or assault, nor any other type of criminality does a NDA protect anybody from. Okay, here it gets into Jeannie Harrison actively, which is his civil attorney, actively collaborated with Tyler Perry's defense team, never informed me of protections under state, federal, or military law, and silenced me during an open criminal case. Michael Robbins, the third-party investigator assigned by Tyler Perry Studios, never disclosed findings, suppressing critical evidence and contributing to obstruction of justice. This NDA signed on October 31st of 2024 is not enforceable under California law, federal veteran law, or U.S. constitutional protections. This is the exact jurisdiction precedent as Derek Dixon's case. Derek was a California resident assaulted in Georgia in 2020. He received full California protection, was not forced into Georgia law, and was not silenced by an NDA. Okay. Then he's listing some more things such as emotional distress, grooming across state lines, escalate the criminal prosecution with both California and Georgia law enforcement, notify and involve the following agencies, which is the FBI, the U.S. DOJ, the U.S. Department of Defense Inspector General, Department of Veterans Affairs, Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs, California State Bar, and the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay. He's saying this is an entire cover up and that even Derek Dixon's attorneys have participated in suppressing this case, left him completely hanging, and that they're only interested in defending this white male actor for a substantial payout from Tyler Perry Studios, while he's also a genuine victim and is not able to get help anywhere by anyone. All right, here is Braxton's video copulation, starting with part 1.
All right. I'm not about to hide anything with you guys. I'm not. And I'm not about to sit here and be afraid and be silenced by people knowingly they did me wrong. I'm calling out Tyler Perry Studios. I'm calling out Mark Swinton. I'm calling out Jeannie Harrison. I'm calling out Michael Robbins. I'm calling out Tyler Perry. And I'm calling out Mark Temple. And I'm calling out Chris Giovanni. I want you guys to know what you guys did to me was very unlawful. And me being a retired vet, U.S. Army vet, going through post-traumatic stress disorder, going through mood, depressions, everything that I've claimed in my testimony. You all covered it up. You all covered up a felony crime of what Mark Swin has done to me. I've asked for help from the California State Bar to complain to Jeannie Harrison because she didn't tell me my California rights as a U.S. Army veteran and a California LA resident. I'm sitting here looking on the news that this kid named Derek Dixon is getting unlimited jurisdiction, quid pro, as an LA resident, right? His incident happened in 2020 in Georgia in an employment place. He said he had a sexual harassment, and he was groped by Tyler Perry in Georgia as an employment place. But he's an LA resident. All right, y'all tracking what I'm saying? 2022, my incident, I get sexually assaulted and raped, drugged, blacked out. That's a felony crime. And it happened in Georgia as an LA resident. So if you guys don't know the laws of Georgia, this is what they put against me. They said I had 2 years of a statute of limitation. I got 5 months late. 2 years of statute. 2 years of statute of limitation, right? Now, let's go back to Derek Dixon. 2020, same incident, but just a different, he has sexual harassment. That's way before statute of limitation, right? 2 years, right? That's what, 4, 5 years? And he gets a lawsuit with his attorney, Jonathan Delshad. Jonathan Delshad gets him a $260 million lawsuit. And it's all over TMZ, it's all over Fox, it's all over every news outlet that you can name up. Right? Every news outlet. But my civil attorney. Now let's go on a story. How all this stuff happened to me. Ever since I came out with my first video. Right? And I'm going to tell you right now, Mr. TP, I'm not afraid of none of y'all. I'm not afraid of none of your lawyers. I'm not even part of this business, entertainment business anymore. You're going to get exposed. Me being with Yahweh Elohim, Yahshua the Messiah, I am covered. And I'm about to expose every demon that is literally possessing you right now.
Wow.
I met a guy who's my manager named Chris Giovanni. Now, I was, I had an agent out in Atlanta. Her name is Joy Purvis. Everybody knows Jay Purvis, of course. And I told her I was going to go to this guy named Chris Giovanni. And Joy told me, oh, no, you shouldn't go to him. He's a bad guy. And he's not going to be the right manager for you. So I'll say this. I meet Chris. I get signed, you know. He wanted to have dinner. He wanted to meet up at Mama's Shelter in Los Angeles. Mama's Shelter is closed right now. It's closed down, but that's where me and him met up at, and we had a conversation. So I told him about my situation. Like, you know, I was telling him what I went through, and, you know, I went through the whole Tyler Perry situation with Mark Swinton and what he did to me, paying me $6,000 to shut the hell up, to not ruin my career, his career, or anything like that. And, you know, I told him about the situation I went through, me being sexually assaulted and raped. And he told me, he was like, oh, yeah, you know, I had the same client that went through that. And all my clients who were on working with Tyler, you know, they're going through a lot of stress. And people are taking advantage of his clients. Even somebody, 2 years of statute of limitation. Yeah, you know, I had the same client that went through that. And all my clients who were on working with Tyler, you know, they're going through a lot of stress, and people are taking advantage of his clients. Even somebody, a female lead right now, I think her name is Melissa, who's on Ruthless, is saying the same thing, that she's ready to leave Tyler Perry too. But that's another side of the story. I'm not even talking about that right now. He was the one that kind of orchestrated everything and told me, I think you need to report this. I think you need to say something. Because I've been holding on for this for 2 years. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who to go to. Being an actor, you know, as y'all all know, it's a hard situation to go through. This is your life. This is what you want. This is your career. This is your dream, right? This is all that you want. But then, you know, you got somebody that you trust, your manager, that's going to support you in this. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to help you, but I need you to, when I do tip off this guy, and he's talking about Mark Temple, who's Tyler Perry's attorney. But yeah, let's keep going. He tips Mark Temple's attorney and told him, hey, I have a client that's going through the situation. What you want me to do with this? So Mark Temple tips off Tyler. As I quote, Tyler was pissed. Right? Tyler was pissed. And that's all I hear from, you know, Chris. And Chris was telling me, you know, they're going to have a third-party attorney that's going to contact you, and they're going to do, it's going to be normal, and they're going to ask you, hey, we've been hired for Tyler Perry Studios to do a employment place investigation. But, you know, Tyler's going to know about all the information. He's going to know about what's happening, you know, about all the accusations, right? Okay, so let's get to the nice things here. So Chris tells me, hey, just tell them that I try to send you an audition for Straw and this and that, and because I don't want to be having a conflict of interest, because, you know, I have clients, they're making about $100,000 each episode. I mean, well, they're making, their client, his client is making $1 million, but he's making $100,000 on each client. And I'm pretty sure he has, like, he told me it was like 3 clients that he had on that. But anyway, that's like the moral of the story. But he told me to lie for him. That's red flag number 1. He's been working for Tyler for since he was 18. I think the guy's like 32 now. I'm not really good at math, but pretty sure that's what. Oh yeah, you know, I had the same client that went through that, and all my clients. He's been working for Tyler for since he was 18. I think the guy's like 32 now. I'm not really good at math, but pretty sure that's almost 13 years. I'm not really good at math, but that's a very long time. The guy knows the guy very well. So I'm going through the investigation, right, guys? Michael Robbins sends me a message. He has this other paralegal that's typing up all my all my stuff. Okay, she's listening to everything in my whole testimony. I tell her everything. I tell her everything what happens. I even got the testimony written out and everything. I literally have everything. So, you know, I'm over here trying to figure out, okay, should I get an attorney? I don't know what to do. This just doesn't seem right, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to get an attorney. I let Chris know I want to get an attorney. The dude gets pissed off, talking about you don't need to get an attorney. You're just gonna cause problems and all this and blah blah blah. We can't have this happen. And I'm just like, well, I need to be protected because I don't know what these guys are gonna do. They're gonna manipulate me. These guys are very powerful. They're billionaires. You know, they can do anything. I don't have shit. I ain't got money like them. I don't have shit. I don't got nothing like that. I'm just trying to take down a person who sexually assaulted and raped me. That's the person I'm trying to take down. But here, it gets even much better. While I'm looking for an attorney, I'm looking for entertainment lawyers to try to see who's connected in the business that can really help me out in this situation because I don't have anybody. I have a case, but everybody's not trying to take on my case because it's so political. People don't want to ruin their reputation. And I don't know why people don't. I just feel like it's just so stupid how this entertainment business runs. These people are sitting here like, oh, I'm not trying to mess up my political rep, you know, if I take on the case like this, and then they're just ruining me. Who gives a shit, man? You got a person over here that's been sexually assaulted, and that's a felony crime. Let me say that again. That is a felony crime. Okay? Vulnerable, PTSD, 100% disabled veteran that is going through it. And to be honest with you, I'm federally protected. But I'll get better. I'll continue that story better on to my story when I'm trying to tell you. I'm looking for an entertainment lawyer. There's this guy named Doug Johnson.
Did we hear this already, you guys? Like, did y'all hear this? Because I can't remember where the video like clips off and clips on at. Did we hear this already? If we heard this already, give me a 2, because I don't know if the video is replaying itself or not. Give me a 1 if y'all heard this. If this is already played, give me a 2 if it hasn't. No. Okay.
I don't know. I guess he deals with stuff like this with sexual assault, but he said, this ain't my type of thing. But I think I know a woman that can really do this for you. So he introduced me to this lady named Jeannie Harrison. Jeannie Harrison, I guess she repped for the Harvey Weinstein victims. And, you know, I don't know what happened in the Harvey Weinstein, and I've seen that he went to jail. He's been indicted, stuff like that.
Okay, there it is. So it clips off there. All right.
He's been working for Tyler. So, but he said, this ain't my type of thing. But I think I know a woman that can really do this for you. So he introduced me to this lady named Jeannie Harrison. Jeannie Harrison, I guess she repped for the Harvey Weinstein victims. And, you know, I don't know what happened in the Harvey Weinstein, and I've seen that he went to jail. He's been indicted, stuff like that. But it sounds like it's good on paper, right? You know, she's got everything that you need, right? So let's continue. She takes on my case. I tell her from the beginning of the story, I tell her, listen, I had a lot of attorneys telling me in Georgia, because I don't know my rights, because I live in Los Angeles. I'm a resident of Los Angeles, but I went over there and traveled in an employment place and came back, right? So, you know, they're saying the statute of limitation is 2 years. And I told her this straight up. This was statute of limitation for 2 years. And I had several attorneys tell me that in Georgia. So I was like, well, they were telling me you're going to have to get a civil attorney in LA because you're a resident in LA. So I'm going here trying to figure out the situation. I'm telling her she still takes on the case. But she says, hey, I'm about to go on vacation for a whole month, and I'll let you know when things are going good. I waited a month. Okay? I waited a month. No words. Nothing. I haven't heard from anyone. I haven't talked to anyone. I only talked to her paralegal. Paralegal's like, just keep sending us some of your doctor stuff and your medical documents. Now, as you know, guys, that's HIPAA Act. Giving out federal documents, what I'm going through in my medical procedures, and knowingly, I didn't know they were trying to keep a felony crime hidden. That is a felony crime, and that's federal. But I'll continue. I'm giving all my medical documents to an attorney that is representing me, right? And she doesn't mention any of this stuff to them. Now, I know she's going to tell me, oh, I've said these things and blah, blah, blah. But why haven't you tell me my rights in Los Angeles? Why haven't you tell me I had unlimited jurisdiction in Los Angeles? Why you didn't tell me I had quid pro in Los Angeles? Why was this case not seen by a judge, jury, or so? But he said, this ain't my Derek Dixon's case. Because I wanted criminal and I wanted civil. But she said it was impossible to do any of that because of the statute of limitation in Georgia. Oh, and I totally forgot. The third party attorney, Michael Robbins, who was doing the investigation, she's been doing business with him for over 15 years, and they've done the same. They were working together at the same practice before for 15 years. They worked on the same cases together as a team. Conflict of interest. A vulnerable victim that's been sexually assaulted and raped, mood disorder, PTSD, depression. Going through a lot. And you took advantage of my medical documents. No Silence Act order in California as a resident. As a VA disability retired soldier, I cannot be silenced doing me having a disability. That's a federal crime. I can't be silenced or coerced or pressured to be into signing in anything without seeing a judge, a jury. And I was never told those rights. That's legal malpractice. I make a police report while I'm in Colombia to the Roswell police in September 25th when I came out with my first video. Before I even signed the NDA. And the NDA was signed in October 31st. Because I even told her I didn't trust her. I didn't trust what they were doing. They were manipulating. I felt like I was being pressed. Even the third party interviewer, Michael Robbins, he didn't even give us a conclusion on the case. He didn't even tell us who was at the wrong or anything. He didn't even give us any information. Tyler Perry knew everything. He kept all that information silent. Everything silent. He didn't let anyone know. But my attorney saying, hey, I got text messages of the lady telling me this. Derek Dixon's case.
Okay, so I know you guys, he's given a lot of information, and unfortunately, Mr. Braxton isn't too good of a storyteller, so I know it's hard to kind of like keep up and to kind of piece together who's what and how it's all interconnected. I kind of struggled as well with trying to keep everything in order that he was talking about, but essentially what I extracted from what he's bringing to the table is that the vice president of the Tyler Perry Studios, Mr. Mark, fake acted like he was interested in helping Braxton with his career. There was a 2022 flight that took place from out of California into Georgia, where Braxton was to go and spend time with Mark to pretty much go over whatever was to become of his future. And in that event, Braxton is claiming that he was SA, that he was groomed, that he was trafficked, etc. And when he then decided that he wanted to take action civilly and criminally, he ended up communicating with individuals who were kind of tethered to Tyler Perry, and ultimately learned that, or has come to the belief and conclusion that all of these people were a part of the same matrix of protecting Tyler Perry Studios, protecting their own relationships to Tyler Perry, and pretty much trying to suppress the situation. He was given the runaround by talent agents who were connected to attorneys that also were once again connected to Tyler Perry, and he was told that the statute of limitations had ran out here and ran out there, even though seemingly those things were not per se true at the time. And that when he finally realized what was going on, and that there was a bigger, a big like Tyler Perry matrix that was reinforcing itself against him to keep the VP from being held accountable and to protect, all assets of the Tyler Perry Studios, he then started to outsource for help. But other attorneys were saying that they pretty much didn't want to get involved with his case. Maybe it's because, and here's the thing, right? Mark may have had something may have actually happened to him. I don't know. That's for Mark to, he has the burden of proving something happened to him. Taking that at face value, when it comes to seeking an attorney, right, for these type of claims, especially on the civil side, attorneys typically also look at the strength of the case. They look at, who can corroborate this. They look at what any empirical or circumstantial evidence there is to support your case. And then, of course, this is Tyler Perry, right? This is Tyler Perry Studios, right? This is a VP that is tethered into the Tyler Perry brand, right? So these are very wealthy, high-powered individuals who have a lot of money to exhaust and a lot of resources to exhaust. And so an attorney, is going to take all of that into consideration, because attorneys are like everyday people as well. Like, they don't work for free a lot of times. They have to get their bills paid, and they also can't afford to be hung up in cases or have large entities and corporations drag cases out for years and years and years. This can run both the plaintiff and their attorney completely bankrupt. So attorneys have something to lose as well. So when they're vetting a case, they're also not just thinking about the client, they're thinking about themselves, and so maybe based upon everything that he had given over to those attorneys, they looked at everything and just said, pretty much all you really have here is not a lot of corroborating evidence. I mean, and to that point, the text messages that Braxton presented did not prove anything. At the very least, it proves that Mark, if this is even Mark, right? Because anybody can change a name in a phone, anybody can Photoshop a text thread, etc. But even just take it at face value for what it is. The text messages only at best show Mark was attracted to him and wanted some quality time with him. We don't know, in fact, if Braxton was assaulted, and nothing that he has presented this far per se as so-called evidence is objective in the least or demonstrates assault of any kind. I'm going to assume if he was turned down by attorneys, they felt that, pretty much he didn't really have a case given all things that he had provided. To Dale Schatz's his point about Jonathan Delshad's law firm, the same law firm that's representing Derek Dixon against Tyler Perry. He said that pretty much, they are not interested in taking his case either. He doesn't really understand why, and that just might be because of the lack of evidence. Now, if something had genuinely happened to Mr. Braxton, of course, for him, he would know something happened. He would know that he was violated. But when it comes to the law, especially civilly, and criminal too, but definitely civilly, if you can't really prove that beyond the benefit of a doubt, you may get yourself into more trouble than not. The law isn't as black and white as people think. It's not like, oh, I have a claim something happened to me, let me go run and file suit. Once again, attorneys and law firms have to vet suits. They have to determine the strength of those suits. They have to determine not whether this is really even true, but whether you can prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. If this thing was to go to trial, if we're going to try to pre-litigate, right, with Tyler Perry or with the VP mark of the studios, what do we have at our leisure and our disposal to convince Mark to settle out of court? Well, right now, Braxton, all you have, right, is your word. Mark could sit on his end and maybe even know that he violated you, know that this is true, but knows that you can't prove it. You don't have anything to prove this, and he has the power to really shield himself up and to drag someone like yourself who's going through a lot, don't really have a lot, through the ringer. Okay, these are all conversations that attorneys may have had with him. But of course, if he's a genuine victim, he's never going to be okay with his case not picking up steam, because this is a genuine event in his life that he wants to pursue justice on behalf of. And, and you really can't be mad at him, for feeling that way. But unfortunately, the law does take into consideration, if there is any type of evidence, if this case can be provable, etc. Once again, I told you guys when we be talking about the Jay-Z lawsuit or the Milagro-grams, Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit, that attorneys don't like to lose. It hurts their profile. Attorneys want to win cases. That's how they continue to stay in business. Nobody would, seek the legal representation of a law firm that has 2 stars or 1 star. So, attorneys, their legacy is in their win. Their legacy is in how competent they are for anybody to take on as a client. And of course, that's represented in wins across the board. So, but we don't know a lot about what's going on here. This case hasn't picked up. He hasn't divulged enough for us to really know what's happening, but he is looking for legal representation. I am going to drop the link briefly for Todd, who wants to come up and share some 1-2-1-2s, and he has some particular insight into some of this stuff. But once again, you guys, this is another The Oval actor coming out of the Tyler Perry studios who was making claims that he was essayed by the VP of Tyler Perry Studios, that Tyler Perry is actively covering up this grape, and that everybody from the talent agents to the management to the attorneys who are a part of Tyler Perry Studios are also a part of these cover-ups and concealing these crimes, etc. And he's saying that nobody will help him, and he's looking to sue for a plethora of things, from emotional distress to rape to assault, etc. He's also reached out to Derek Dixon's attorneys, who he said are not interested in taking on his case, and he doesn't really understand why. He is a U.S. military vet. He is clear about the fact that, yes, he's going through a lot, been going through a lot, that he suffered from PTSD. Sandra said in the comment section that, PTSD can really cause people to spiral. That is true. PTSD, especially when it's severe, definitely requires psychological reinforcement and therapy. If it's left untreated, it could result in a severe decline in mental cognition. And people can really they can sometimes take their own lives, or just completely, spiral into total psychosis. Rather, this is Psychosis, we don't know. We don't know much about Dixon's treatment level. What level of trauma does he have? Has he been in treatment? You know, we just don't have a lot of information right now. There's been no official lawsuit launched against the VP of the studios, but he's looking to pretty much have a lot of co-defendants if and when he goes to sue, if he can find an attorney to take on his case. And of course, I know that Gloria Allred, Blackburn, Busby is somewhere waiting and lurking. I can't say that they would be any help. They might make matters even damn worse, to be honest. So we're going to see what takes place. I'm going to let Todd up to speak. Hey, Todd.
Hello, how are you doing today, Conscious?
I am awesome. How are you?
Not bad. And I hope the Conscious crew is doing well on this Sunday as well.
Yes. Now, you were getting into some things. Can you kind of explain what you were kind of explaining in the comment section?
Yes. So let's start with the statute of limitations. When I researched the statute of limitations for Georgia just a few minutes ago, he has 300 days to file a charge, right? The problem that people have is that an inquiry and a charge is two different things, okay? Now, he may have inquired about something, but if you do not file a charge, such as, for an example, to get his statute of limitations to expire to where he can file anything past the statute of limitations, that will require you to fill out what is called a Form 5A. Now, Form 5A is an unperfected charge. And the reason why it's called unperfected, right? Because for them to perfect it, they have to do the paperwork to be able to file a charge. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like a snippet of this is what's happening to me. Can you guys do something with this? They accept it. But once you turn in that Form 5A, the employer has to be notified within 10 days that you are filing a charge against him, which is what it sounded like he did.
Okay.
If he said Tyler Perry knew, he filed a Form 5A, right?
Yeah.
Now, when he's talking about like his statute of limitations being exceeded, now I can see a scenario where, again, right, where I did say that the statute of limitations are infinite, they are finite, right? So he may have had 2 years from the time that he filed that charge to get a notice of right to sue. You understand what I'm saying? Right?
Okay.
But just like we talked about last time, if you sit on that and you don't do anything with that, it does not matter what your status is. They don't care if you're a veteran. They don't care if you have PTSD. The statute of limitations are the statute of limitations. They will expire.
You think you are so what you are surmising is that he thinks certain things matter that don't, such as his military status. He thinks that his military status in and of itself defaults him to certain rights. When it comes to the law, there are certain things that even your military status would be irrelevant to, such as all.
Absolutely. And, you know, because see, again, you know, I'm listening to his communicative processes and he keeps mentioning I'm a veteran. They can't do this to me. I'm a veteran. Those statute of limitations, when they expire, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. They will expire because that's the law. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? All right. So what we try to tell people is this, and it even tells you on the website, if you have anything you need to file, if you want to seek remedy for it, you need to file. And here's another thing that people misconstrue about the EEOC. They do not stop employment actions against you. They don't do that. So, for example, if you're at your job, right, and you go, man, they fired me today. Y'all got to do something. Or I know that they're going to fire me within 2 days, or if they're going to give me some type of severance package and I'm going to get fired. The EEOC does not get involved with that. They can't go in and tell your employer, don't fire him.
Okay.
The only thing they can do is give you a notice of right to sue, right? And perhaps even represent you when you go into civil proceedings. They cannot stop employment actions against you. They can't do that.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Baby mama Teresa says, but what if he files before the statute of limitations runs out, but the courts end up sitting on it?
Okay, now once it's in the courts, it's in the courts. You have filed your charge. You know, once it gets there, you're good. All right. Now remember, just because you file a charge does not mean that the courts are going to rule in your favor either.
Right.
Does not mean that. But
do they inform you once they've made a conclusion, including that they're not going to take action?
I believe you'll find out everything, because it's just like going to court. They render you a judgment. It's just like going to court.
Okay.
You know, and see, here's another issue, right? If your statute of limitations do expire, you can still sue, but the likelihood of anything happening is almost next to none because the statute of limitations have expired. So they'll look at it, all right? But it doesn't mean they're going to rule in your favor because, again, the statute of limitations have expired. And what I start to see, and what we're starting to see with this common thing, we keep hearing people talking about, well, my statute of limitations have expired. My statute of limitations have expired. They didn't tell me. Remember, HR is not there to tell you. Most of the time, HRs are not there to tell you how to go about this.
Right.
Because HRs are there to do what? Protect their businesses, right? Right? Yeah. No HR is going to be like, yeah, man, you know, you got a lawsuit. Go ahead and sue us, right? No.
So it sounds like you're kind of also saying that what he could be interpreting as a Tyler Perry Studios cover up is just actually the design of the system itself.
Absolutely.
Not per se any menacing, evil corporation, but to your point, HR is there to protect the business, not to protect you per se. I
can't say that. Put it this way, I'm not saying that.
Well,
all right.
Okay, well, I'm saying it for y'all as somebody who has friends in HR. they just gave me a rundown a few days ago on how HR does not have your motherfucking back, okay? HR is not there for you, okay? And that is very logistical when it comes to HR. So when you're going to bring any issue to HR, you better have everything photographed and documented. You bet not let a bunch of stuff slide and then think you're going to slide over to the HR department and that they're going to be working for you. You pretty much are on your own, and they are there to protect the system, not to protect you. So you really got to have your ish together and understand that, so that when you are having your corporate experience, and if there are things happening that shouldn't be happening, that you have the mindset to know, I have to document everything and protect myself, so that, because essentially this is me against the machine.
Now, here's what I will tell you. All right. They're not going to hold any information back from you. All right. They're not going to, because all of the information. Say again?
They're just not going to help you. They're going to provide what they legally have to provide you with.
Right, the bare minimum. The bare minimum, right? Because remember, they're not trying to incur any type of lawsuits, and they're trying to mediate at the lowest level, right? Right. So what you see a lot of times is people going to the EEOC and they're filing a complaint. All right. The complaint, nobody knows that you have an issue when you file a complaint or an inquiry, because that stays between you and the EEOC. Now, when you start talking about filing a charge, then it becomes part of, then it becomes, you understand, now you're reaching into the law and they have to be notified that you are filing a charge against them. You can always go to the EEOC and get an inquiry and find out what you can do. And nobody knows anything but you and the person that's interviewing you, right? That's a give me, right? But when you start reaching out beyond that, then people have to be notified. And what do you think is going to happen when you start notifying your employer that you're filing a charge against them? They're going to do what? Protect themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Now, here's what I will tell you. There are certain things I would believe that would protect somebody, such as the Whistleblowers Act. So like, if you do say you're filing a charge against them and you're employed with them, right? No, They cannot fire you because you're filing a charge against them, right? However, they can fire you if you're doing something contrary to their rules, like showing up late, talking back to the supervisors. That might expedite your way out of your job because now you are breaking their rules. See, the EEOC does not stop employers' actions against you if you are breaking rules.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some companies, and I'm just making a blanket statement, not saying that any companies out there do this, but they do what they call a massive paperwork for patterns of misconduct.
Todd, your audio is glitching.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. How about now?
Keep talking. Let me see.
Is it better now?
Okay, it's better. Yes.
Okay, great. Now, what they will do is amass paperwork for patterns of misconduct. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So those things will not preclude you. They will not preclude you from keeping your job. Those things will have you out the door, on the floor and out the door. But the EEOC cannot come in and stop an employer from firing you. They cannot do that, and they won't do that.
Got it.
Also, what people have to understand is that the process is not retroactive. And what I mean by retroactive, like right now. No, that's not how it works. You go in, you file a complaint, right? You get your interview. From your interview, you decide whether you want to file a charge or not, or you can file a charge before then. But the process is the process. They can't come in and get you an interview and you go to court the next day, and that's not how it works. You know, there's no instant remedy.
A patience that have to be a virtue in this case.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this? Because he says that he has a criminal investigation that is open. He provides the Rochville Police Department detective's name, phone number, and case number. What do you think about him seeking criminal?
No,
because
I don't.
Also,
right. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because he's filed criminal on behalf of, I'm assuming, his assaulter. Now he's looking for civil. He's saying that it's very political on the civil side because nobody wants to be the attorney to go up against Tyler Perry and then I guess lose or even risk the way that will impact them and all of this. What do you think about his spill on that? Especially in this era where it seems that there's no short of attorneys who are ready to jump on high profile cases.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It depends on how ironclad his case is, because no attorney besides Tyrone Blackburn wants to be in a position, wants to be in a losing position, right? I mean, I'm just saying, right?
Busby and Blackburn, right?
Right, but yes, yes, and you have to.
This is what he presented to attorneys or even to EOC. I can understand why they was like, sir. I mean, your text messages don't show anything. A criminal, they don't even remotely lead to anything criminal. If he's assuming that these texts are supposed to be like the smoking gun, and the fact that he did get flown out, he shows his itinerary, etc. But there's nothing there that remotely demonstrates great, etc. And I'm hoping that this is not what he presented to EOC or to the police or even to any civil attorneys, because then I can understand exactly why he has gotten absolutely nowhere by presenting this to reputable systems of accountability like police, lawyers, etc., because there's nothing here on that front. Now, his claim is one thing, but as I had, articulated earlier, when it comes to cases, I mean, especially on the civil front, great, etc., I mean, the burden of proof. It's largely there.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it's just like anything. These things have to be investigated and vetted, right? And if you're going in there with substantial information, man, what do you do? What do you do with that information, right? So I can't blame anybody for looking at this on the surface and being like there's nothing there. But then again, as you have said constantly before, and this is why I encourage people to listen to the Conscious channel, because you're going to learn a lot. Anybody can sue anybody. Am I right, Conscious? You have stated that many a times. Now, whether you're going to get something in that's different, because it's all circumstantial on the evidence. You can civil sue anybody. You can sue anybody. Nobody's going to deny your right to sue somebody. But what they can do is look at the information, vet the information, and if there's nothing there, there's just nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah. Last question. Man, what do you say to people who may have been through something, who have been violated, but when you bring in all of the issues of burden of proof, when you bring up statute of limitations, what do you say to somebody then who is kind of stuck in that situation where they have
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What I tell people is this. The first thing you need to do is documentation. All right. Documentation beats argumentation. Okay. So what you start doing is you get yourself a little black book and you start writing out dates, times, and very specifics.
I know.
All right.
I'm also asking, like, and not like kind of how you prep to be successful, but like if you haven't been living that life, and because you don't expect something like this to happen to you, right? Like you don't, like, nobody's really kind of walking around expecting to be hurt or violated. So most people, when this does happen, and I guess it's why they've created certain acts in some circumstances to increase the longevity of the window for victims to pursue accountability, because they take in the issue of like the psychological drama and trauma of it all could really be a lot for a victim to work through. It may take years for victims to get the courage to want to seek help or accountability for what has happened, etc. So if you haven't been living this life, you're not expecting something like this to happen. It happens to you. And then by the time you then are ready to speak out, the statute of limitations has exhausted. EOC is no longer available to you. You did not chronicle, anything really. What then? Is it just that you just have to accept? You just have to accept that you went through something and count your blessings that you are alive to tell about it, and just kind of go on with your life? Is there any other options that a person has if they don't have any proof, they didn't choose to chronicle any proof, and if all these limitations have been exhausted, so it seemingly seems that the law also can't really do anything for you either?
Here's what I would tell you, right? Seek counseling, okay? Because again, nobody, remember, we've had this conversation before. Nobody can help you if they don't know if there's a problem. Okay. The key thing is to act with haste. All right. There are mechanisms out here that can help you, but they can only help you within the required time limits. All right. So if you suspect that you're having issues, or if you feel like you're having issues, confer with other people who are watching these issues. All right. Because sometimes it's easier to go to somebody who's on the outside looking in as opposed to somebody on the inside looking out.
Okay.
Right. So, this is, again, do not wait. That's the key thing. They even tell you on every website, do not wait. If you feel like there are issues, 9 times out of 10, there probably are, right? And you go and you find out what you can do. And just remember, if you are doing anything with the EEOC, right? Remember, there's nothing wrong with filing an inquiry to see what can be done or to see if you have a case. Because the investigators will definitely let you know that, but do not wait.
To explore your options, but do not wait. Yeah. And I think that's the issue here sometimes with the law and the way the system is set up, right? Is that you do have the subjective issue of trauma. And so a person may not even know what they want to do until they have, until they've processed what has even happened to them. Like they can't even get past that before then get into the, what could I do about this? What should I do about those questions? Some people can stay locked in the initial offense and violation, that can polarize them, for an extended length of time and just be a lot for a person to deal with before they can even get to the other questions that, happen afterwards. Like, should I get the police involved? Am I ready to hold this person accountable? But, I guess to your point, right? Like the law is the law. And because of the way the law is positioned, I guess it's best that people definitely, for one, report these things, period. Hold people accountable. Don't allow somebody to continue to sit upright who could potentially abuse someone else, or hell, even re-victimize you, because that's a risk you take as well by not doing something. And because of the issue of statute of limitations, it is best for people to push themselves to report as soon as possible, because the law is not always going to be available. These systems are not going to always be accessible and available to people who've been violated. My last question to you is, what do you think about Braxton's, what do you think about him and what he's bringing forth to social media?
This is awareness. All right. No matter how much people may look at this situation to either validate or invalidate what he's talking about, it is awareness. And you can never have enough awareness. That's the best thing that I can say, because he might say something that might trigger a person to remember certain things. And just remember, it can only be remedied if a person says something about what's happening to them. So yes, I applaud that gentleman for getting on here and telling this case, because this is not easy. It's not easy to put your business out here in the world for your words to be scrutinized and for your case to be looked at with the lens and the scope. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I commend him for doing it. Because how else are we going to know that these things are happening?
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, thank you, Todd. Thank you for coming up.
No, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Much love to you, Conscious, and the Conscious crew. I appreciate you guys letting me come on and cook. Thank you, guys. I learned so much each and every time I'm on here. Thank you, guys.
We learn things every time that you up to, each and every time. So it's a reciprocal exchange for sure. All right, brother man.
All right, thank y'all. Appreciate it. Have a great Sunday, everybody.
I love Todd hitting the link because he works in the EOC sector and knows a lot about that. So yeah, you guys, we're going to see, man, as it's not surprising that someone else has come out and has experienced something under the Tyler Perry umbrella. Tyler Perry is being indicted by Mr. Braxton as an agent who, according to him, is actively covering up. Braxton is claiming that this cover-up is illegal and it's criminal. It's giving RICO and racketeering, child. My God. Tyler Perry, best to get ready. It looks like, it's his turn. And we're still waiting on some updates on the Dixon's lawsuit. I'm going to check the docket or get my street committee member, because we owe Pesa $400, child. We've been tearing Pesa up for 2025, child. We done ran up matter of fact, this way y'all can donate, child. We done ran up a $400 tab on Pacer alone, girl. Okay, content creating costs, y'all. It costs, child. So this is interesting. I hope that Mr. Braxton definitely gets the resources and the help that he needs. He seems to be going through a lot in general, This is not making what he's already going through any better. And yeah, you know, we don't have a burden of proof here, you guys. Everything is up to Braxton. You know, it's up to him to prove his plight. The public does not owe him a belief or a disbelief. He brought this to social media. Social media is entitled to be critical thinkers. They're entitled to take his side, to not take his side. They're required. You know, he entered the group chat. And so far, what he has brought outside of an allegation definitely is not receipts that something criminal has happened. The text messages he presented don't demonstrate anything criminal. Him flying out to Georgia to see Mr. Mark, the VP of Tyler Perry Studios, does not in and of itself imply anything of a criminal sorts. So we'll see what happens with Mr. Braxton. I'll keep you guys updated on any developments in his Mr. Braxton's allegations. Let me know, girl. There's a lot going on. Thumbs up the video. If you enjoyed yourself, you guys, run the like, sub, donate to the platform, $ Consciouztv, Cash App, paypal.me/Consciouztv. Email me anything. If you guys see anything before I see it, email it to me at consciouztv@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram and DM me anything that's relevant, especially to the cases that you guys know that we are kind of maintaining the continuity of. And you can always send me any stories and anything that you think or you would like to see brought to the platform, you know, via DMs and or email. I will check you guys later. Peace.